facts and circumstances about the choices that Mr. Richter made throughout his life. The choices and the decisions that he made about his smoking, coupled with the information that Mr. Richter had about the dangers every step of the way. You learned that Mr. Richter was a man who smoked for decades, day after day, week after week, despite knowing that smoking was dangerous, addictive, and deadly. And you learned that Mr. Richter continued to smoke because he enjoyed smoking. It was part of his lifestyle. Mr. Richter told you, of course he enjoyed smoking. The fact is, this is a case about one smoker. You heard this morning in the plaintiff's closing argument about peer groups and birth cohorts. You saw lots of documents and videos and statements that had absolutely zero connection to Mr. Richter. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is in, and there is no evidence in this case, none, that any document, statement, video, or advertisement influenced or impacted Mr. Richter in any decision he made about his smoking. There is no evidence like that in this case. Instead, the evidence in this case was that Mr. Richter knew throughout his life that smoking was dangerous and addictive. Now, a lot of times it wasn't until cross-examination, when we got a chance to cross-examine witnesses, that we were able to bring you the full picture, the full story about Mr. Richter's awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the dangers of smoking. But when we did, you learned that Mr. Richter was a man who wasn't confused about the dangers of smoking. He wasn't in doubt about whether smoking could be harmful to his health. Instead, Mr. Richter was a man who lived in a world filled with warnings. Surrounded by warnings throughout his life. Not just by one source, not just by one person at one time that was cherry-picked out. Instead, Mr. Richter was surrounded by direct, clear, and personalized warnings throughout his life by those people that he trusted and those people that were closest to him. Over and over again, from different sources, at different times, but the message was always the same. That message being, you need to quit smoking. It's harmful to your health. That was the message delivered to Mr. Richter by his family members over and over again throughout the years. As Mrs. Richter told you, she could have told him and warned him until she was blue in the face. That's how often, that's how frequent her warnings were. And that's the information Mr. Richter had. With that information, Mr. Richter made the decision and the choice to smoke.